You have a guitar you can play.
I have a guitar. I can
Oh,
play,
nice. Nice.
but
Sing
not with
some
my fingernails.
This Little Light of Mine.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah. This thing swirls in a circle. If you see that we're live, let me know and I'll start talking. Hey,
Not with my fingernails.
I see us live.
Yay! We are live.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Seems like a little delay, but we're gonna go. If you see that we're live. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
That's weird. It's like a delay. Well, all right, all right. Well, we'll start. Hi, everybody. We're coming to you live. I don't know how to make that delay stop. Hold on a second. Hang,
Okay.
hang on, folks. We are just going to figure this out with the muting. I'm wondering if I can. All right, well, we'll start. Hi, everybody. We're coming to you live. I don't know how to make that delay stop. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hang on, folks. We are just going to figure this out with the muting. Yep, bear with us one second, folks. Because I'm afraid if I hit mute on my sound, then I won't hear you talking. So
We can test it. One, two, three.
yeah, hold on. Let me try hitting mute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. All right. That's what it is. All right. I've got it
As
off
long
now.
as they can hear us on the podcast, that would be fine on the live.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. Oh my gosh. I wonder if there's a way to tell. So hold on. I'm going to go log into my Facebook Live for just a second on
You mean
YouTube.
your YouTube?
I mean, my
Okay.
YouTube. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
The
right.
good news is we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I know we're like actually streaming, right?
Right.
All right. It says,
You mean your YouTube?
I mean, my YouTube. Oh, yeah.
We're
All right.
good.
We're good. All
Okay.
right.
Ah,
You
that's
ready to
awesome.
start? Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. I'm coming back to Zoom so I can see you in real time. Hold on. There we go.
That
Hi,
works.
everybody. It
Hi,
is
everybody.
Terry Wellbrock here from the Healing Place podcast, and I have the amazing, wonderful Ruth Slingo, and we are on week 3 of the 90-day health challenge that we have been doing, and we've been streaming on Facebook Live, but we've been having some streaming issues onto the Healing Place podcast page, so we streamed onto my personal page and then moved it over. So we thought, let's check out YouTube Live. So here we are. And so before we begin, I wanted to just share with you. Hold on one second. Excuse me. So, week 1, we did You're Healthy Until the Day You're Not. So, if you
Oh,
want to check out week 1, and hold on, I'm going to pull up week 2. Week 2 was mindset shifts and affirmations. If you want to check out those 2 weeks, and week 3, we will be putting it on the Facebook Live for the Healing Place podcast. You can go to that Facebook page. And Ruth, I'm going to let you talk for a second. I got a tickle in my throat.
okay. So, yeah, mindset shifts and affirmations. And today we're talking about work-life balance. How many of you guys think that there's any such a thing as work-life balance? I never used to thought I was like work, 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 and somewhere I would squeeze in a little life. What about you, Terry?
Oh, yes. I mean, I was Well, you know me, like I do a podcast, I do audiobook narrations, I have a full-time job, I do insurance brokerage, I do like I've got all these balls in the air. I was doing therapy dog volunteer work, but I personally call like my podcast, my writing, the books I write, all of that, that's my soul work. And so it's such a passion that I don't even think of it as work. However, I've also learned to just like weave in, I guess, um, moments of like I've learned to listen to my body. Like today, I was like, okay, I've been sitting way too long, and my I could just feel it. I was getting stiff. So I took the dog and I said, "You ready to go out, bud?" And man, we took off and we took a long walk and ran into a neighbor and chatted for a while. And it was just good for the soul to be outside and yeah, honor it.
Yeah, right before we were coming on live, I sat outside in the lanai and it was 85 degrees and sunny here in Jacksonville, Florida. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I was sitting out there, and I've been sitting out there on and off all day. My husband chose to work from our little lanai patio area out there. And it was just such a beautiful day. And we have such a busy week ahead of us, our weekend ahead of us. And so it was like, I just needed to. So when I sat down there and the sun was coming through, or I was there for the beautiful sunset a little bit around 5:45 tonight, 6 o'clock. And I was just like, oh, let me just be present in this moment. And I think work life balance kind of we can get caught up in being task oriented that we forget to one, listen to our bodies, like you said, and two, just take a minute to breathe and be present.
Yeah, I know you had said that before we hit record or before we went live.
Yeah.
Um, just how you worded it so beautifully, and I should let you say it, but about, when you're at work, and I'll let you finish it.
When you're at work, this is to me the whole overview of work life balance. When you're at, it's a little more like work life integration. So when you're at work, learn to give yourself permission to be fully present when you're in work mode. But when you're with your kids or when you're with your spouse or your partner, learn to be fully present when you're in that moment as well. And I think that's where I used to pride myself. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm the best multitasker around. And I realized as I started doing personal development, that's really not a great quality because then you're not completing tasks, you're forgetting things, and you're scattered. And really learning how to manage your time and time blocks, and really learning how to give yourself permission to be fully present in whatever time block you find yourself in.
Yeah,
That is what your family needs, that is what your relationships need, that is what your charity work needs, and that is what your work needs.
yeah. I loved the word scattered that you just used because it's perfect. That explains it so well in that if you're trying to be all things at all the time, you're just scattered. Yeah.
So I have really had to work on not just answering every call as soon as it comes in, or not answering every text as soon as my phone dings, or not answering every email as soon as it comes in. And this all stems back to when I was an interior designer for 25 years and I worked for an amazing flooring cabinet furniture company. And I was one of the lead designers, and it was there in Fredericksburg, Northern Virginia. And I remember sitting there and they had hired a new GM to come in, and I was like trying to impress him, so to speak, with how busy, I was, because people thought, oh, you can't possibly be as busy as you make it. So I was like, hmm. So he wanted to sit in there and just work with me for one day. And I would start a task and an email would come in. And I would immediately go to that email and try to find the data for that email. And then I would go back to the other task and another email would come in. And he's like, Ruth, you're not going to get anything done. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not going to get anything done. Like, I'm doing this. Like, this is me. Like, this is what I'm doing. And he's like, no, you need to learn how to manage your time for the tasks so that you can get through your to-do list. Because how many of you guys listening have started a to-do, woke up in the morning or the night before, you did a whole to-do list of what you want to accomplish the next day, right? That's me. And then the day of, you have your list written, but how many times do you not even get to the list because you're just managing the moment? And I think that we need to learn how to, in this personal development I've done, we need to learn how to prioritize, this moment right now that's coming in right now. See, if I was on an airplane and I didn't have cell service or data service and I couldn't get to my emails or my text messages or to answer a phone call, would everything still be okay by the time I landed? Let's think about that, right? So, how much more can you give yourself permission to have 25 minutes of uninterrupted focus time on a task? I learned this from a podcast I was listening to when I was starting my personal development journey. Once that guy said that to me, I was like, oh, how dare you? And then I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this. So I started doing like work at home moms or busy work mom life balance, and I found this podcast. And I remember listening to the first one, Teri, it changed my life. And I think I've listened to it over and over again. And they talked about 25-5. Now, this is crazy, and you might have heard me say this before on some of the coaching calls I've done, but let's talk about 25-5 because we're talking about work-life balance, being fully present in the moment. Give yourself, whether it's cleaning your house, cleaning your closet, cleaning out your car, or whether it's completing certain tasks on your to-do list, set your timer for 25 minutes, starting at 25, counting down to 0. Okay. And then what you're going to do is, as a phone call or a text message or something that you would normally react to comes in, you're going to look at that countdown. Oh, I only have 13 minutes left of this 25-minute block. I'm going to, when the timer goes off, I'm going to respond to those messages. So 25-5, what does that mean? I call them power blocks, right? So 25 minutes counting down. I'm going to focus on what I'm fully focused on, whatever the task is at hand, whether it's cleaning out the closet, because if not, it just goes all day. Everything can go all day, and one thing leads to the next. And the same thing with your to-do list at work. And the same thing with being a mom with 4 young kids at the time. Like, I needed to learn how to feel good, like I won my day somehow. So let's talk 25 minutes counting down, and that email comes in, and then I have 13 minutes left. Okay, all right. I know that's important, but I only have 13 minutes. Anything can wait 13 minutes, right? So then 10 minutes left, and ding, a phone call comes in. Okay, I know I need to call my mom back. I know what she's calling me about. I meant to get her that, but I just didn't get that. And then 5 minutes left in the block. Guess what? Oh my goodness, I get a text message, and it's just someone needing a little bit of information, whatever. And I'm like, okay, all right, 5 minutes. And then you set your timer for 5 minutes. When the timer goes off after 25, you set your timer for 5 minutes. You go to the bathroom, you get a cup of coffee or fill up on your snacks or whatever. And if you think while you're in that 25 minutes, I need to get a glass of water, wait till your timer goes off. Wait till your timer goes off to go change the load of clothes in your laundry. Like, wait till the timer goes off to put the dishes away. Do your 5 minutes. At your 5-minute mark, then go in, return the emails, return the phone calls, tell the person, Mom, I've got 5 minutes. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I meant to get that, but if you can give me till 6 o'clock today when I'm done with my work life, I will handle that. Whatever you've got to do to let the touches know, I hear you, I see you, but I'm in the middle of something. I'll get right back to you. Whatever you need to do, depending on level of importance, right?
Yeah.
And then you can start right back up with another 25-minute block, or you can give yourself 35 minutes and start at the top of the hour with another 25-minute block. You have to decide how your work life balance is going to work. But when I learned how to do that, I can have what I call 2 hours worth of power blocks, 25 fives, scattered throughout the day. And if I'm intentional about it, I can get 4 or 5 hours worth of work done in 2 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100, because you're not stopping and being distracted and scattered. Your words scattered. It's so perfect. Yes. Yeah.
So that's a great tip for mommies, for work at home moms, for work at home anybody. That is a great tip because working at home is so great. I can work from anywhere, right? With what we do here, we can work from anywhere. I love that about this business. But anywhere I have internet, I can work. I love that about this business. I always say this, the best thing about this business is we get to create our own schedule. The worst thing about this business is we get to create our own schedule because we have to learn how to stick to our schedule or we will not have the work-life balance we're looking for.
Right. Right. Yeah. And what popped into my head was, and this is kind of a little bit of a left turn, was uh something that had such a profound impact on my life was I read a book, and this was before I even had stepped onto the healing path, called The Power of Now. And it was life altering for me because it was about mindfulness and it was about living in the now, being in the now. I had such anxiety from my trauma history that I was either worried about the past or fearful and fearful of the future. And so it was just that I was never just here in this moment, focused on this moment. And so learning to allow myself to be fully present, like you said, in whatever it is I'm doing. It's I've just found I see so much more beauty. I enjoy life so much more. Because I'm aware of what's happening instead of like, constantly like looking phone, listening, you look checking emails. Like I'm aware that, oh my gosh, wow, look at the, beautiful sun coming through the window. And yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's not easy when you're when I get my validation from work and doing for other people. It's not easy for me to have any type of balance for myself, like you said, listening to your body and things like that. And, when I was coming through this, we'll start with week one, you're healthy until the day that you're not. And being the caregiver for my brother, it was all about my brother. It was all about my brother and his journey and helping him go through his stage 4 cancer diagnosis and helping be there to be one of his caregivers. And so I found that I forgot to, and it sounds so cliche, but it's really not, to put my own caregiver oxygen mask on. And I think that those are things that we forget about. And the same thing when I get too involved in my work, my kids, they told me as they grew older, they appreciated me. They call me I'm a strong woman. They think I'm amazing. But mom, we didn't really need anything more than just a little bit of time with you. And so when we're talking about work-life balance, what are you putting into your schedule? Because schedule is part of balance, right? You have to schedule yourself.
Mhm.
So what are you putting into your schedule? Are you intentional? Do you forget that the people that you're doing all of this for, they don't need your leftovers? They deserve to have a piece. I call it the pie thing, where when I go to work, you know, I would, all the pieces of my pie, I can only have so many pieces of pie when I start with a fresh pie every day. I may have 8 pieces of pie on that pie, right? By the time I get home, there is no pie left because it's been taken by everybody at work. That's just not fair to the people that you love. You have to be intentional and make sure that they get your full present moment. They
Yes,
get some of that too. But if you don't learn how to prioritize that, then you're not going to be there for them the way that they need you. And they don't really need everything else. They just need your eyes. They need your ears. They need a hug. They need someone to listen to them and validate them. Because even though you're doing all this for them, Terry, it's, what's the point if
right.
you're not present?
Well, and that kind of brings us to boundaries. So what if you have somebody that's like super, super needy and super, super not, I have three kids and they were all amazing and I just treasured every moment I could spend with them. But there were times where it was like, oh, I have this homework going on. Oh, I have this going on. I have to get to soccer practice. I have to go here. Like this is this and this. And so I was like doing the mom thing, right? And just running and doing all of that. And so there has to be a point where you're like, okay, now mom needs some mom time. And so putting healthy boundaries in place. And I know for me, man, that was a guilt thing. Like I I found it hard to do.
Yeah, that is not easy at all. So, what I found in these little podcasts that I was listening to, what I found for these working moms, um, one of the things that they did is, have a family meeting on Sunday night and kind of share your schedule with them. Look, mom has to work from here to here and here to here, and this is the times, but mom has blocked out time for you for this, this, and this. So if you can help mom be able to be present at work, she promises to be present for your moments that are important to you, whether it's attending their basketball dinner, end of year dinner, their senior functions, whatever it is. And I think that sharing my schedule with the kids, and then one of the biggest things that I failed in that I'm learned from failure is um, making promises and then letting work cancel the promises that I made.
Yeah.
My kids were like, Mom, we don't even want to hope anymore. But they didn't tell me this till way after when I started getting better. They didn't tell me in the moment. They just knew if mom says, yes, we're going shopping on Saturday, and then a builder called me and needed me to come walk a job, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, we'll have to push it off. And then mommy wasn't present. It's like they got tired of getting their hopes up. And sometimes you think, oh my gosh, my kids are acting out. Well, really, they're they're sad. You just need to find them. You need to find them and say, I'm sorry. And that's what I had to do. I'm sorry. I didn't set the proper work boundaries. It's not just personal life boundaries you have to set, but you have to set
Yes.
work boundaries too. And that's where I failed. I was so good at setting personal boundaries. Nope, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. Well, that's not fair to them.
Yeah, yeah. And that comes around. So I had these eight things I wanted to touch upon,
Okay.
and we're like so touching upon all of them. Like you've brought in so many of them. And but one of the things was, and this popped in my head was like again, being cognizant of your own energy needs. And I know I said earlier listening to your body, but it's not just that, but recognizing like when is my battery running low or like almost gone, right? And what do I need to recharge? And whether that's personal life or family or work life, um, we all need to be aware of. So what are your tricks for that?
Okay, tricks for that was not feeling guilty when I wanted to get a 90-minute massage because one, my body needed it, my health depended on it. And so I started scheduling. God, I really need to get back into that, but I started scheduling every 2 weeks. and I would book a meeting from a meeting. So I would be there, I would get my massage, and then I would book the next one for 2 weeks from then, and it would go on my calendar. See, because it all starts with schedule, it all starts with calendar. If we don't put it on our calendar, then, we don't have a plan, and we've got to have a plan to be intentional. So that was really one of those things. And then when my husband and I first started dating, I was on a bowling league. And I called it forced date night because every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, we were at the bowling alley and we had the best time. And I wasn't that good at it, but boy, I sure acted like I was. And it was just a time to associate. And, my handicap was really good and people liked bowling with me because our teams were winning because my handicap was so good. And sometimes I would pull it out and bowl like a 280, but most of the time I barely broke 100, but that's okay. My handicap was good and our team did great. But that was what I called forced date nights. And I kind of miss those moments because now that we can do anything we want to do because we get to work together, my husband and I, we forget. And we just talked about this the other night. I was like, honey, what would it take for us to go? We live by the ocean. What would it take for us to just stop and go walk and put our feet in the sand just a half an hour? Like, what's it going to take for us to just hold hands and walk on the beach? Like, I don't care what time of day it is. I just think that we need to learn how to be present for each other. So tricks, have something in the plan. But for me, it was bowling. It was my massages for myself. It was like the date night thing, and every now and then a facial. I will tell you, I have to break up my manicures and pedicures because I went to get a manicure and pedicure together, and that was 3 hours. That is way too long a period of time for me to not be present. Like I didn't even want to be with myself after an hour and a half. So I was
Yeah.
like, whew, I'm going to get my nails done one day from now on. I'll get my feet done another day. Like I'll split it up. Like it's, yeah, just
Yeah.
what, and have you ever had to think about, Terry, what, what truly is something that Terry likes to do?
Yeah. All the time. Yes. And I put it
Because I've
on my
lived for
calendar.
so many people for so long, Terry. What's really something Terry wants to do? What
Yeah.
would bring you joy?
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes it's just sitting alone, but what would bring you joy for real?
Yeah. I love to go bike riding. I love to just sit outside and just meditate and do my mindfulness. And like talk to the little lizards and in gardening. And there's so much stuff. And I literally made it a habit of putting these things on my calendar. I'm so glad you brought up the calendar. I would put half an hour nature bath on my calendar, on my to-do list, so that, and because I made myself in the beginning stop and go out in nature and take a hike or sit in nature or read in nature or whatever it was. And by a nature bath, I mean just surrounding yourself in nature. It then became habitual. It became part of my life and part of my routine in that, oh, I need a nature bath. And then I would recognize it and do it. But I had to put it on my calendar in order to make myself do it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it
Yeah.
totally makes sense. And that's why I said that, what are some of the things that need to be on your calendar? Well, time with your children, time with, if you have children at home, time with your family, time with the relationships that are important to you, whether it's a spouse, a partner, or whether it's your girlfriends, whether it's wine and paint night, whatever that looks like, once a month, once a quarter. I don't care. Girls trip to the Dominican Republic, whatever that looks like, have those moments where you know that it's okay to work extra hard right now. Right now, it's okay to work extra hard because I know this weekend I'm going to be fully present with my family celebrating the marriage of our daughter. So, and then in October I'm going to do the same thing with my other daughter. So, these are things, but if you look at your schedule, and I make it a habit to look at my schedule at a glance at the beginning of every week. So I call it Sunday. Sunday is my prep day for the week. And I just want to look at the entirety of the week And all those things that are in the back of my mind that I think about that I forget to write down that I say I'll never forget. I want to make sure that those things are on there somewhere and
Yeah.
then put it on the calendar
Yes.
and learn how you don't have to schedule your life out. Vision boards are great, and that's great, but you don't have to schedule your whole life out for 10 years or 5 years. Have the vision board for that. But really, we just need to do at least a week where we can overview everything and give yourself permission to change it the next week. Maybe some other things came up that were unexpected because they always do. So, whatever you had to tweak out of this week, make up for next week. Like, just be intentional. I love John Maxwell's book, Intentional Living. And it was such a blessing to read it and listen to it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And I have to tell you, I had a bowling ball with my own little bag and my shoes, and I had my initials on my bowling ball
Yes.
because we did bowling, right? And yeah, I think my best bowling score was 232, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I may have had a few beers, and yeah, and so we used to have such a blast on our bowling league. So yeah, it's fun. I love
Yeah,
it.
me too. I had two pairs of shoes. I had a couple in fact, all my kids did bowling. Why? We did it on Saturday morning. Like there was a bowling league and all four of my kids were in it. And some of mine went to like the Pepsi Cola championships and things like that. And they got little trophies and I love that for them.
Yeah,
And that was something where they knew mommy would be there. So you
right,
have to think in terms of, and not people don't just always want stuff. Time. Time and being present is the most beautiful gift because time is something you can't buy and you can't get it back.
right. Oh, I still talk to my kids. I say I miss the taste of diamond dust and like them being out on the mound and pitching at baseball and just sitting there and being there and cheering on my kids and like that was just that's such a precious memory for me and I do feel so blessed that I was able to have that time to devote to them and you know it's just a gift and a treasured memory forever. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me look at my list. See, we've talked
Okay.
about schedule, energy, prioritizing boundaries, breaks. Oh, one of the things we haven't talked on, the last three things, and
Okay.
I'll just throw them out and you can pick what you want. So communicating our needs, so being able to communicate with those around us, our spouses, loved ones, self-care rituals, and reflection. So those, any of those like poke my
Okay.
interest.
How I deal with communicating my needs, how I deal with that is I started learning how with our personal development in the business that we belong together in. The neatest thing about it is they have a certain training, and I start my conversations because I love to cast vision and I love to tell people, what I'm thinking. And this is how they know I'm going to communicate something to them. I'll say, and my kids kind of taught me this too. Now, this is a safe place right here, right? And that when I start with that, they're like, uh-oh, yeah, okay, mom, what's up? Because I say, this is a safe place. Now, let me tell you, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, whether it's with my husband or whether it's with my children or whether it's with a coworker, this is a safe place, you know, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling like I need. And then also when we have those conversations, asking the people that are important to you in your life that you're trying to have this work life balance with, you know, do you have any needs for me? That's really
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that. And I think for me, learning to be open and honest and saying, "Hey, I'm going to express how I'm feeling about this. And this is me just sharing I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you just honoring my needs and where I am in this moment. How people will then, it almost like takes their guard down, right? Like they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm totally here to listen and I'm here. What is it you need to express? Like if you just present it and say, I'm going to share my needs in the moment, that so many times people are just, they're gracious. I have found, at least with my
Yeah,
family.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Self-care rituals. Do you have any? Well, you said, I guess you did touch upon that. Your massages and
Yeah. And I need my time in the morning or my time sometime through the day. I try to do it in the mornings. I love worship music. And I need my time where it's playing. And when I feel a little overwhelmed, or when I feel like either I need to jumpstart my day with it, or if I forget because life happens, because it does. Nobody's schedule is perfect. Come on, people. There's nobody's schedule and their to do list gets done every single, like, there's just not happening. It's just not reality. But learning how to be present in the moments is what it is. And that's what we're talking about. And really just having that time where if I don't get it first thing in the morning, I just know I need 20 or 30 minutes where I just put my music on and I step away from the computer, step
Mhm.
away from the activity and just take a moment. Like you said, nature bath. Well, mine's just prayer, meditation, and worship.
Yeah, I love that. I have a Pandora on on our television, and I put on meditation music. And so it's constantly playing in the house all day long. We leave it on for the dogs and I mean, because to me, and then I'll also put my infuser on with frankincense or some sort of essential oil, and it's just tea tree oil or something, and it's just, I don't know, makes the house smell like I'm like any minute a masseuse is going to walk in and give me a massage. I
That's
put the
right. That's
music
right.
going.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. All right, last one, reflection.
I think that one of the things I struggle with the most, this is a safe place. One of the things I struggle with the most is journaling. But what a beautiful thing it is when you do journal because you can go back. And I was what they call the recorder of my brother's journey all the way till the last day. And reflecting back on the moments that I've had throughout my life that I can say this was a moment that defined me. This was a moment that changed me. This was a moment. And watching and measuring myself by how far I've come, not by how much I've missed my goal or my target, but measuring backwards to how far I've come.
Yeah.
Living in the gain, not the gap. That's a beautiful book in case you want to read The Gap and the Gain. But measuring how far I've come and just reflecting on the journey and not being upset about the journey, just just continuing to move forward because your journey is your journey. Teri, your journey is your journey. My
Mhm.
journey is my journey. I didn't set out to be divorced after 15 years of marriage. Like these are parts of my journey that I didn't ask for and I didn't think about that would ever happen to me. But guess what? My story is still being written and the destination is still going to be beautiful.
Yes. Oh, I say it all the time on the show to my kids, everybody, everyone's on their own healing journey. And if all of us could just pause long enough to reflect upon that and realize, oh, that person that's being really nasty right now has nothing to do with me.
No,
What's going on their journey? Like, what is happening? Is someone sick in their family? Did they just receive a diagnosis? Did they just lose their job? Like or it could be, just that someone was just nasty to them on the phone and they're just reflecting that. And so, yeah, I'm so glad you said that. What such a great reminder that, we're all on our own healing journeys. And yeah,
and
beautiful.
nobody knows what's in my red wagon. how much I have to carry. I don't know everything that's in your red wagon and the other people's red wagon, I call it. Like, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And how they respond to us is no reflection of us. So, yeah, our
Yeah.
journey is our journey. And I love it. So,
Yes.
speaking of journey,
Yes.
we have a lot going on with our journey here together. And I am so grateful that anybody has tuned in for week 1, week 2, week 3. And go back and listen to the other ones, and you can kind of figure out who this Ruth Slingo person is since y'all already know Teri. But what we do matters. And we do this on a day in and day out basis. And we help protect families for their journey through life to protect their loved ones. And that's what we do. So we're here. And if you want some work life balance, we're here for that too, right, Teri?
Amen. Amen. Yes. And I mean, it is such a gift, that we give families, right? And that peace of mind and to be able to allow them that opportunity to, yes, offer that gift to their loved ones. Yeah.
Mhm. Having that in place can really help the ones that are left here because the one that passes on, they're already transitioned to where they ultimately wanted to go. It's us that are humans have to grieve and the ones that are still living have to grieve and miss them. So having that little bit something better than nothing to protect them, to help us through the transition process would make it a little easier.
Yeah. Well, I'll put links down in comments,
Okay.
everyone. And every week we do two things. We leave you with a challenge and then a free download of a gift of some sort. So I'll put that in the comments as well. I had a couple of different ideas, but I wanted to have the conversation first. And so I've got stuff and I'll just pick and then I'll put that, it'll be on a Google Doc. But you can click on the link and get to it. So challenge, do you have a challenge for folks this week?
Oh, the challenge. Okay, here you go. Are y'all ready? Because we're doing this on a Wednesday night, so we're not doing it on our Saturday. So the challenge. The challenge is going to be work yourself up to this week by Sunday, having your schedule for the following week done, including the relationships that you want to be a part of that week, being intentional about them, being intentional about when you're going to work, even if you have a regular 9 to 5, put it on your calendar. It's not just understood. Make sure that the people that are important to you and make sure you put your self care time on that calendar too. So have that done by Sunday and then just kind of like sit back and say, wow, I won it. I made this challenge happen and watch it unfold for you. I can't wait to see you guys next week.
Yes. Oh, I love that challenge. Right. My challenge for y'all is I loved the journaling thing. And so I literally have like 15 journals on my nightstand. But here's the deal. One is a blue day journal. And so if maybe something's bothering me or I need to vent, that's my blue day journal, right? And then I have my God journal. And so I write letters to God in there. And then I have my goals journal. And so that's where I write out my goals. Like what do I want to accomplish today, the next week, the month, the year, 10 years, whatever. So just create a journal for yourself. And if you don't want to go out and buy one, you can do it online. I have some journals on my computer, but create a journal for you. And it can be just a everyday daily journal. I have a daily journal, or it can be something specific, like I do. So there you go.
Wow, I love that. All right. This is so great
I
again. So
know.
I love it. Thanks,
I do
Terry, for
too. I
letting
do
me hang
too.
out with you.
Oh, for sure. Well, this has been fun. I'm so excited that this is out on YouTube. And yeah, and then we'll put this over on Facebook as well. You can find it there and I'll put it on my LinkedIn page and all that fun stuff. So we'll kind of get it out there everywhere. And feel free to invite folks and tag folks and share it with folks and just help more people tune into these beautiful weekly conversations. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up. I'm so excited for you for Saturday and best wishes and all that fun stuff.
Yay. All
Yay.
right. Till next week. Have a
All
great
right,
one.
everybody. Well, thanks for joining us today. And until next time, be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let me hit end.